Well, hello ladies and gentlemen, my name's Ian and welcome to me shed. We left off in the last video where I was looking for a pyro, a pyro tool. If I can find a bit of pyro, I'll show you. It's easy to just show you where I'm up to. I mean, I'm still here. I mean, this is just a continuation of the last video. It just, unless you wanted another hour-long video, so not decided yet whether I'm cutting it and this is start of a new video or whether I've just done an intro in the middle or towards the end of the last one. I don't know. Well, we ceased and desisted for a short while and got a anti-establishment IPA. Life is better with a beer. It is after you've been doing this lot. It don't make any difference, does it? Okay. I did what I said I were doing. In the last video, I emptied that toolbox into a tub. Showed you some bits at the end, didn't I? I put all my bar stock, heavy stuff, in there on top of that trolley, and then put all those heavy vices on top of that. I mean, can you have too much bar stock? That's square bar stock, and there's more square bar stock there. So anyway, we digress. And I did all that because, well, I found a hole down anyway, so that needs to go up there with all the other hole downs. Right. That was on top of there. I went through all that, couldn't find what I was looking for. That look, it's too heavy to pull out, so I had to pull out all sorts of stuff to get at it. And I found it. But we'll go under here and I'll show you. Click on there. Right, no, it isn't that. It's that. It's that. And as you can see, it's got like a vice and it's got a sharp wheel. We're going to have a go with that. First, I've got to put everything back. Yeah, I did find 2 grease guns, although I think that one. What it says on the interlube. I have a techumulate. I can't even say it. I can't even say a lot these days. Aluminium bar stock. A few holes in. Oh, all the way through that. That's not much use. Scrap. Oh, get it out. I'm going to put everything back. Oh, right, well, I did find some more interesting stuff. I found this, and this, right, is a, well, you can see what it is. It's an axle with bearings in. And what it means is, I could attach, say, a motor to that end, right, and I could attach one of the slitting saws onto that end if that idea doesn't work. I mean, that might do the job, so, but it's going to be labour intensive, that. However, I've also found my chain collection. So someday, if I ever decide to make something out of chains, oh, I could use them for my table. Right, get this lot back hidden. Whoa. Yeah. Bunch of spanners on a ring. Right, before this is more for no less. I've got a couple of unusual hammers here. Hammers. That, I believe, if I remember correctly, is both of these are from my father-in-law, who used to make clogs, and that, I believe, is for taking out pins, and that's for tapping them in. And that, no, that's a planish. That is definitely a planishing hammer. However, I can go under the time being until I sort my hammer collection out, and that's quite a big hook on that, isn't it? But that's when well used. I might reshaft that someday. Just let me continue. Anything else unusual here? Nope. Back to the business in hand. Whoa, space. Well, not really. Someday in the future, I'll revisit that lot. I've got to go through it. I've got to get rid of stuff that's... It's just, even I don't think it's useful. Like I say, one day we'll revisit that. But I've got what I looked for, which was my pyro tool. I don't even know what it does. An electrician will tell you. It's so you can wind the copper sheathing back, because the copper sheathing is, I believe, the earth with or the return with the live going through the middle. I'll find a piece. I've got some somewhere. Right. Just let's get back to whatever it was I was doing. Well, all in all, that was some doing just to find this tool. Okay, you may have a look at this tool. I've got safety specs on. The reason for that will be obvious in a minute. Right, I couldn't find any pyro. It's basically a cable, but the outer sheath is solid round copper. Oh, I know what I can do. Right, well, inside of that, focus. Well, on the inside of this Heliax cable, the central rod is aluminium. Bit of a bummer, really. But on the bigger stuff, the centre is actually a copper tube, like this. Well, it is covered in this foam, as you'll see later. So that is basically pyro, and on the inside there's a filament, a wire, but it's packed round with like a ceramic powder. It's horrible stuff, horrible. Now, an electrician wants to connect that to a fitting. He goes through a gland, tightens it up, but he's got to wind that back, and that's what they use this tool for. Now, it's got a clamp. You can see he's got a clamp at the top that comes down for the different thicknesses of pyro, and on this side it's got both a little slitting wheel and a little peg. Now, I've never done this. So I should assume that you you wind it down, and that cutting wheel is on an angle. So you turn it round, it ain't just going to do a circle, it's going to do a spiral. So you wind it down till it starts to bite. And you do that, I think. Right, you can see there it's putting a spiral in it. Well, then you kind of, I say I've never done this, but I think you kind of split that. Alright, I'm going to just tell you, I'm going to describe it. So it cuts through it's probably because it's hollow, I ain't doing it right. So it cuts through the outer cable, and then you take a piece of that, and you wrap it round there, and as you twist it, obviously, that unwinds it all. I'm going to do that, I'm going to show you, I have to do around. Nah, I'm sorry, I can't get that to work. Probably have to do it on proper pyro. So anyway, that might be too thick. So yeah, you hang the spire on there, and as you twist it round, that starts to unwind it. Okay, well, the reason to finding that tool was to see if it would work on here. And as you can possibly see, compared to the other end, it don't work. Because it's corrugated, you can see all it's ended up doing is like flattening the corrugation out. So, all that effort for finding that, but it gave me, sometimes it's good to just, you know, recall, remember what you've got stashed away, and think to yourself, I don't need that anymore, I can get rid of it. Right, let's the title, Don't Feel Cheated. I'll put these back on now. Take you off. Well, as you can see, the idea of slitting the this stuff straight down one side, or even down both sides, I've done that here and there. Makes it really easy to split this stuff. However, I said, didn't I? Don't, you know, you might feel cheated. And that's because I've got kind of like this mini circular saw table, right? And you can see that blade, yeah, he's only sticking up just a few, 5 millimeters. Where did that come about? And that's what I did all that searching about to get myself a slitting disc. Weren't actually that one. And I was at work and I was telling folk what I was doing, and one of the guys said, so you're after making a tiny circular saw. I went, yeah, really. You know, I was going to use that bench grinder, make some sort of table at the side with the blade just sticking up of it, shove the cable through. Easy peasy. He said, well, why don't you make your life easy and go into the, well, we have a mould master department where there's a guy who makes mold masters, and he uses various tools, machinery. They have a milling machine at work, circular saws, rotors, crosscut saws, various things. And amongst it is this very tiny Proxon mini modeller's circular saw. I mean, that's the size of the blade, and it's tungsten tipped. So I had a word with the guy, and he went, yeah, he says, I'm not using it, borrow that the weekend. He says, and actually, he says, I'm about to change the blade. He says, so I don't mind you knackering that blade up, but do me a favour, here's a new blade, and when you're finished, put a new blade on it. So it was a bit of a win-win for me. I didn't have to spend time designing, codging together that bench grinder, make a table, although I still fancy doing because this has got to go back to work. So I'll show you just how well it worked. Right, so the setup's pretty easy because I had all the big Heliax cable over there, all cut into lengths. So I've set this up. Got a block there with an axe. I'll show you that in a minute. And I've got a bag here ready so that any rubbish just goes straight into that bag. So basically, I fire the saw up. I run that through. I've done it half and half. Half the time, I've just stripped it like that, and half the time, I've turned it over and run it through again, and it's splitting it in a half. But obviously, that uses twice as much electricity. I've got some tools here for when I finish, for various things I'm going to do, and a brush where I sweep up after every job. Now, as I said, that is barely sticking up. Barely, you know. I said it in the other video. How much of your fingers do you want to cut off? So that is sticking up just enough to cut through that plastic, the copper outer sheathing, and a tiny little bit into that foam. Let's say 5mm. So I'll stick you up. It is noisy, so watch. If you've got earphones on, watch your ears. As I said, the process is quite simple. I run it through. I'll have my hand over the top. I know there's a bit of a health and safety risk there, which is not a problem because the blade's here. My hand will be here. But when I get to the end, you do need some downward pressure. So I took a piece of wood, and I used a flat disc and curved a little bit of a semicircle in, so when we get to a certain point I can finish off over that. Right, gonna be noisy, okay? Remember, the blade's here. That's done a particularly nice cut all the way on. So I will turn that over. So I've got the cut on top. That comes apart nice and easy. Oops, just get my snips, and it comes apart like that. Really easy. Right, what was the block of the axe for? I stick that long piece into my sack won't close, so I Just chop it into little bits so it'll go in my sack easier. Right. The next bit is, that's what we got out. But I'll do another one for you. Right. This one's a bit different. This one's got a clamp on. Stainless steel bolts. We'll just whip that off. Whip that off. Right then. I thought they were just plastic clips, but when you open this, you'll see there's copper there. So why should there be copper there? Because it's kind of like an earthing strip in there. So there's a nice bit of tinned copper, nickel plated copper in there. Winner, is that stainless steel? I don't know. That's stainless steel, so winner on that as well. Right. I'll just do this one as well. But just the one cut this time. Let's tilt you back a bit. No, you're right. Not bad sort. Get me snips. So I've only done the one cut this time, but it's still the same. Get that. Just rip that off. Straight away, I'll just make that smaller. Then I can put it in my sack. That takes up less room than a big length. Right, we've got that. We've got a nice slit all the way along that. I say I've done this half and half. I just get my snips. Pull it back. Till I get that out. And I've got a copper tube running all the way through the middle of that. In like a compressed, I don't know what they call it, closed cell foam that's stuck on. Won't be not easy for you to see this, so let me turn that off. Right. So in the easiest way, but I've been doing it down here and you can't see. I just take a Stanley, and peel it off. Once I've done that, I've got another knife here, which I find a bit easier. And if there's anybody watching like BFD Man, who says he's done loads of this, and he's given me some tips, which, like I say, unfortunately didn't work for me. I don't have a vise handy. You've got to do what you've got to do with what you've got. Right, I've got this copper rod, copper tube with this foam covering, but like we did with, I'll have to figure a way of cleaning that up. Then I can just take that lot. So it's all about efficiencies. I can take that lot. Normally I have a glove or a brush. I'll just sweep it straight into that bag. A little bit of sweep. And that was an easy job. just a table saw in to do this smaller stuff. Right, so that was Ian playing about in his shed, and with a stroke of luck with it being able to borrow this, made my job a little quicker. I probably will make that grinder slitting saw anyway. I think it will come in handy. I've a lot of thinner stuff to do yet. I ain't going to bore you with that. It's just that, rinse and repeat. Get my bench cleared. Do the first metrology video. Then I'll be working on that make a table challenge. Right, Ian in his shed, thank you for watching. Hope I've not bored you to death too much. And see you in the next one. Take care, everyone.